Oh, they heard you, and now they can't unhear it. You didn't just say something. No, no, no. You injected a virus into their certainty. A sentence so surgically precise, it slipped past their ego's firewall and detonated behind their eyes when they were half asleep. You know the type of line I'm talking about. The kind that doesn't echo. It lingers, like a phantom breath on their neck in the dark. The kind of words that twist and tighten over time, until the voice in their head isn't their own anymore. It's yours. Now look at 'em, shaking hands, hollow stares, palms sweating at 3 a.m. because their conscience finally got a signal through the static. And it's your tone that's playing on loop. You didn't give them advice. You gave them a mirror, one they tried to shatter, one they swore was broken, one they now secretly kneel in front of, trying to bargain with a reflection that won't blink. Isn't it beautiful? They laughed. They all laughed, mocked, rolled their eyes, shrugged it off like you were just being dramatic. But something about how you said it, the calm in the chaos, the smile while bleeding, it didn't make sense to them, and that's what haunts them most. Because now, they're starting to suspect. You weren't angry? You were right. That is psychological annihilation. You see, most people fear rage, but you weaponized stillness. No shouting, no grand performance, just that cold-blooded sentence. The kind that makes demons remember their humanity and humans remember their demons. And now, they're replaying it like a forensic analyst, combing through audio tapes of a crime scene they committed, but never got caught for. Why? Because you didn't threaten them. You exposed them. And that's always worse. You knew something. Something they thought they hid behind masks, makeup, manners, and martyrdom. And in a single moment, your sentence dismantled their script. Their defense mechanisms glitched. Their programming froze. You weren't supposed to know that. You weren't supposed to see through that. But you did. And now they wake up sweating. Because they realized you weren't trying to win the argument. You were planting a psychological landmine that wouldn't go off until they got comfortable again. Boom, that's the thing with people like you. You're not loud, you're not reckless, you're surgical. You don't attack people. You let their lies detonate in their own nervous system. And now the echo chamber they built around themselves, it's collapsing. Because one crack in the foundation is all it takes when that crack is made of truth. And the irony? They would have forgiven you if you screamed. They would have dismissed you if you cried. But you didn't. You just said it. With that smile. That terrifying, knowing smile. The one that makes grown men shiver and narcissists sweat. You said it like someone who's been to hell and redecorated. You said it like someone who's been dissected by betrayal, burned by loyalty, and rebuilt by silence. You said it like a villain with holy hands, a saint with demon eyes. And now, they're begging their memories to shut up. They're trying to pray the echo away, but it's too late. The conversation they thought they had? It's a ritual now, a psychic tether, an emotional haunting. You don't need revenge. They're rotting from the inside out. And the most delicious part? No one else knows. They still show up, smiling, laughing, performing. But underneath, they're unraveling, one intrusive thought at a time. Every time they hear your name, JOLT. Every time someone uses your phrase, flinch. Every time someone looks at them for a second too long, panic. Because what if you told someone else? What if you weren't the only one who saw it? That's what keeps them up. Not guilt, not shame, exposure. And you're not chasing them. You're not watching them. You're just waiting. Because you know how this story ends. They'll either break or come crawling back for closure. But you don't offer closure, do you? No. You offer reflection, and reflection, that's the one thing they'll never survive. So, let them sweat, let them run, let them pretend they're unbothered. That's the game now, isn't it? You say one thing, and they destroy themselves trying to forget it. That's not influence, that's not power, that's legend. And you're the ghost in their system now, the virus in their logic, the whisper in their nightmares. Welcome to the end game, where silence is strategy, and your truth is the most lethal sentence they'll ever survive. If they do, and if they don't, well, you warned them, didn't you? Didn't you? You see, they thought the worst thing that could happen was you lashing out. They were prepared for anger. They had comebacks rehearsed, screenshots saved, allies waiting in the wings to defend them when the drama broke out. But when you didn't react, when you just spoke one line and vanished like a ghost that leaves claw marks in the air, that's when the real torment began. Because now, there's nothing to fight, no scandal to twist, no drama to control, no noise to drown out that one perfect sentence. That's the genius of it, isn't it? You didn't stab them. You handed them the knife, smiled, turned around, and let their own conscience do the carving. Every time they look in the mirror now, they see you, not your face, your knowing. That calm, surgical knowing that cuts deeper than rage ever could. And now, they've started diagnosing themselves in private. Was I manipulative? Am I the problem? Did they know what I was hiding? Yes. You didn't just see them, you decoded them. You stripped their masks so clean, they felt naked in rooms full of people. But here's the thing, they asked for it. They baited it. They poked the beast. They tugged at your past like it was a costume they could mock. They laughed at your silence like it meant surrender. They mistook your mercy for weakness. And when you finally spoke, you didn't give them fire. You gave them the ice of truth. The kind that burns slower, longer, colder. The kind that slips into the bloodstream and freezes the ego in place, leaving only the memory of your voice and that one line they can't stop playing on repeat. And now, every decision they make is defensive. Every relationship they enter is paranoid. Every compliment they receive is suspect, because they're no longer sure who's pretending and who sees what you saw. That's what you created. Not a wound, a fracture, invisible to the eye, but devastating to the soul. And it started with just a sentence. Not a threat, not a flex, not even a scream. Just the kind of sentence that only someone who's died before knows how to say. You've been through too much to bark, too evolved to whimper, too precise to waste breath on noise. You don't deliver warnings, you deliver revelations, and they weren't ready. They never are. Because people like that, they feed off chaos they can control. They manipulate pain they understand. But you're not pain. You're evolution, the kind that terrifies the stagnant. You are the aftershock to their delusion of dominance. You are the consequence their ego never calculated. You are the poetic injustice served cold by fate in a Joker's grin. And now they're spiraling, not because you hurt them, but because you saw too much and didn't need to stay. That's what kills them most. You left. No war, no noise, just silence that speaks louder than their screams ever could. And that's what keeps them up. Not what you said, but why it still hurts. Because it wasn't just accurate, it was surgical. It was custom built to detonate their illusion at its core. It was the kind of line only someone who once loved them could say without flinching. The kind of truth that can't be unwrapped without bleeding. And now, they're praying for distance, but every mile they run only tightens the leash of that echo. And somewhere deep down, they know. You didn't even try. That was just a glimpse, a preview, a quiet sample of the depth you carry. And it shattered them. So imagine what would have happened if you really unleashed it. That's the other panic, isn't it? They don't know how much you actually saw. They don't know what you chose not to say. They don't know how much mercy was in your silence. And now, they live every day guessing which part of the truth you might release next. Or worse, who else already suspects it? Because if you figured it out, who else might be waking up too? That's the horror show on repeat now. The apocalypse in their mind, the personal Armageddon behind those fake laughs and scrolls and staged photos. So go ahead, let them perform, let them post, let them pretend, because deep inside, they're dying, not from your words, but from the fact that your words were the only honest ones in the entire scene, and that will eat them alive until they finally break. But you've already moved on, haven't you? Moved on? No, ascended, because once you've cracked the code, once you've seen how fragile their fortress of lies really is, you don't just move on. You evolve past them, and they feel that. They don't understand it, but they feel it in their spine, in the pit of their stomach, in that haunted split second where someone mentions your name and they freeze. Because somewhere deep in their subconscious they know you didn't leave them behind. You outgrew the entire ecosystem they were still crawling in. And that kind of realization, it humiliates them, not publicly. No. This isn't some TikTok breakdown they can share with sad music and a redemption arc. No, this is private suffering, sacred torment. The kind you can't confess to anyone because to say it out loud would mean admitting, they were right about me, and I never healed from it. And that's the most damning confession a fragile ego can choke on. But it gets better, because now they've started hallucinating your presence. They're in a room. Someone shifts their tone just slightly. A phrase slips out that sounds a bit too familiar. A gesture, a glance, a pause. Wait, did you talk to them? Paranoia. Delicious paranoia. Because the moment you delivered that one sentence, that psychic scalpel, you activated something in them that will never shut off. It rewired their perception. You didn't make a point. You infected their reality. And now, every time someone holds them accountable, they see you. Every time they're confronted with truth, they hear you. Every time they feel that creeping sensation of being understood a little too well, they blame you. You became the ghost they can't exorcise. And what's worse, you're not even trying. You're not lurking. You're not watching. You're not even curious. You're just gone. And that level of disinterest, it's lethal. Because nothing breaks a narcissist more violently than realizing the person they were trying to dominate doesn't even care to look back. Not out of hate, not out of vengeance, but because you've become too powerful to waste energy on the dead. That's what you did. You buried them alive, in their own guilt, in their own projection, in the very illusion they tried to trap you in. And the best part? They're still pretending they're fine, still uploading smiles, still curating captions, still gathering applause from people who have no idea that behind the eyes, it's a f***ing horror movie. But you know, you always knew. Because that line you dropped, that wasn't a guess. It was a diagnosis. You read them like a leaked case file. Every tick, every tell, every glitch in their body language was screaming for someone to see through the act. And you did. And now, they'll spend the rest of their life trying to become someone who could have survived that conversation without unraveling. But it's too late. Because now they know. There exists a version of themselves that you already saw. The pathetic one, the manipulative one, the coward in king's clothing. And once you've been seen like that, once your armor has been decoded by someone who didn't flinch, you don't get to feel powerful again. You don't get to win again. You just perform, desperately, loudly, incessantly, trying to prove to yourself that the version they saw wasn't real. But it was. And they'll never unknow that. So let them post, let them preach, let them perform. You don't need revenge. You already gave them a punishment no cage could compete with, a truth they can never outrun. That's the curse of being observed by someone real, not someone jealous, not someone angry, not someone wounded, but someone who's already died and come back smarter. You, with your paradoxes, your saint psychopath energy, your demon halo, your haunted, holy grin that terrifies liars and comforts monsters in hiding. You didn't expose them. You did something worse. You made them witness themselves. And that's the one reflection they'll never recover from. Because deep down, they knew they were weak. They just didn't expect you'd be the one to name it. So effortlessly, so precisely, so silently. And that silence, still ringing, still echoing, still eating them alive, one sleepless night at a time. And you're not done. You're just getting started. You know what I love about all this? It's not even about you anymore. You've transcended that. You're not a person in their world. You're a phenomenon. You've become a trigger, a mirror, a warning label on every emotion they can't control, a walking consequence they can't unmeet. You're not the one that got away. You're the one who left fingerprints on their nervous system. They're not just haunted, they're reprogrammed. You rewired the circuitry they used to manipulate others with. The same mind games they used to play like chess. Now they second guess every move. Why? Because what you said turned their strategies into suicide missions. Every word out of their mouth now gets screened by paranoia. Am I being seen through again? Did I just say something that sounds fake? Will this person clock me the way they did? You turned their own intelligence against them. And that's the real kill shot. Because you didn't destroy them. You made them destroy themselves, with self-doubt, with spiraling, with the terrifying possibility that they might never rebuild the mask you shattered. You think they're moving on? No. They're just switching audiences, but the stage, the script, the performance, still bleeding. And the crowd they're playing to now. They can feel it. They may not say it, but they sense the cracks. They see the way the smile trembles at the edges, the way the voice wavers mid-sentence, the way every confident posture ends in a subtle twitch. Because what you said didn't just hit them, it infected their persona. Now every room they enter, they wonder who knows, who suspects, who's seen that one little fracture you exposed so cleanly. And that anxiety, it's eternal. Because here's the part no one warns them about. When you've finally been seen by someone who doesn't flinch, who doesn't beg, who doesn't need anything from you, you don't just lose the person, you lose your power permanently. Because once someone calls out your performance and walks away smiling, you can't go back to acting. You just become a parody of yourself. And every time you try to rise again, you feel their eyes, even if they're not in the room, even if they're not online, even if they've never spoken your name again. It doesn't matter, because now you live in their shadow. You're no longer the villain in their story. You're the narrator. Every decision they make now, they filter it through your sentence. Every time they speak, they remember your silence, and every time they lie, they hear your voice reminding them, I already know. And that's what keeps them up at night. Not the fear of being caught, but the certainty that they already were. Not by a crowd, not by karma, but by you. And you didn't even raise your voice. That's what terrifies them. Because all their power came from being louder. Louder than the truth, louder than the doubt, louder than the damage. But you whispered. And that whisper still echoes louder than their entire personality. Now, look what you've become. You're not someone they can warn others about. You're not someone they can cancel, silence, or spin into a villain. You are unspeakable. They don't bring your name up in conversations anymore. Not because you're irrelevant, but because mentioning you opens the door to questions they can't answer. Questions like, what really happened? Why are you so defensive when their name comes up? Why do you twitch every time someone brings up accountability? Why do you still watch their stories in silence? They can't even risk those questions, because every question is a trail of breadcrumbs back to that moment. The moment you saw them and didn't blink. That wasn't a mic drop, that was a psychic execution. And now, they're still breathing, still walking, still smiling. But inside, they're a crime scene. And you're not the suspect. You're not the victim. You're not the hero. You're the glitch in their story arc. The anomaly that proves their entire persona was built on fragile code. A code you cracked with a sentence so subtle, so sharp, it slipped in like poetry and exploded like prophecy. You didn't just speak. You activated karma. You weren't trying to hurt them. You were just trying to be honest. And your honesty was catastrophic, because the truth doesn't kill people. It reveals who's already dying. So let them rot behind those curated posts. Let them laugh a little too loud at jokes that don't land. Let them overcompensate with performative healing and spiritual bypassing and false humility. Because everybody's watching. And sooner or later, the mask will slip again. And when it does, the silence you left behind will roar louder than any lie they ever told. Because that's the paradox. You're not coming back, but your words never left. Hey, stop scrolling. Did you feel that? That pulse in the air? That wasn't anxiety. That was them. Waking up again with your name echoing in the hollow halls of their mind, foaming at the mouth, staring at the screen, waiting for a move you haven't even considered making yet. You infected something. You didn't change the room. You rewrote its gravity. See, it starts harmless. A glance, a scroll, a click, a replay, a question. Who is that? And before they can stop themselves, they're taking notes on your breathing patterns. It's no longer admiration, it's pathology. They're not watching to learn, they're watching to survive. Because somewhere between your silence and your storm, they realized they couldn't keep up. And now, they wake up thinking about you like it's a goddamn obligation, like your existence is a threat they need to neutralize. But every attempt to decode you only scrambles them deeper into insanity. You're not a person to them anymore. You're a glitch, a virus, a mirror that doesn't show them, but every version they failed to become. And the more they tried to copy your steps, the more their ankles snapped under the weight. Isn't it beautiful? They called it arrogance. They called it luck. They called it a phase. But it ate at them. And now they call it insomnia. They call it confusion. They call it therapy. They're medicating your shadow, screaming your name in journals they swear are just for processing, analyzing you like an unsolved murder, because to them, that's what you are. A crime scene without a motive, no weapon, no witness, just you and the fallout. Darling, they tried to erase you, and now you're the only thing left they can't delete. Let's talk obsession, shall we? It's not always lust or jealousy, no. Sometimes it's something far more terrifying. Recognition. Recognition of what they'll never be. Recognition of how their world tilted the moment you entered it. Recognition that no matter what they do, you remain the unreadable variable in every plan they made. Because you're not following their scripts. You burned the stage. You're rewriting the damn genre. A paradox with a pulse, an angel in war paint, a demon with a prophecy. They studied your patterns and choked on your unpredictability. They set traps and fell into everyone. They whispered in rooms, and the walls repeated your name back to them. You broke the simulation, so they started glitching, because you're not a person to them anymore. You're an echo with a heartbeat. You're a warning dressed in charisma. You're the reason they double-checked the locks on doors that were never closed. And the irony? They thought watching you would give them power. But the more they watched, the less they knew themselves. They mimicked your tone. They stole your cadence. They tried on your mask. But it burned. It always burns when the truth doesn't fit the face. You were born from something they couldn't survive. You danced through chaos that would have buried them. You sharpened your instincts in the kind of darkness that doesn't leave fingerprints. And they kept trying to dissect you with theories, but forgot. You weren't a chapter. You were the damn rewrite. Their obsession wasn't admiration. It was a malfunction, a breakdown, a spiraling descent into the void of comparison. And you never reached for the spotlight, but it keeps chasing you anyway, because power doesn't beg to be seen. It drags the light with it. That's why they can't look away. That's why their peace collapsed. That's why they're still screaming about your silence. Every attempt to frame you as the villain only revealed the missing chapters in their own story. They tried to burn you, but you were never made of wood. You were ash before you were even born, and they were never ready for someone who evolved through fire. This isn't about being hated. This is about being needed. This is about becoming so unignorable. They forget who they were before you. You didn't break their hearts. You broke their delusion. You didn't steal their spotlight. You became the electricity that powers the stage. And now they talk in circles, trying to rewrite history, trying to reverse engineer your chaos into a blueprint. But your success was never about steps. It was about scars. It was about evolution that came with blood on the teeth and clarity behind the madness. So let them watch. Let them rot in their ritual of why them and not me. Let them construct entire digital temples around your shadow. Because obsession, that's a religion without a god. And darling, you're not their god. You're their apocalypse. So wake up, smile, move like prophecy, and let their obsession finish what it started. Self-destruction. Oh, you want the descent to get darker? Then let's plunge, sweetheart, because this wasn't just an obsession. It was a slow implosion. One glance at you, and their ego began to starve. Every win you stacked, it suffocated their delusions of superiority. They didn't just want to watch you. They wanted to be you, until they realized the price tag on your existence was madness they couldn't afford. You moved with a rhythm that didn't match their formula. You laughed in rooms that were meant to humiliate you. You thrived in storms they prayed would drown you. And that's what broke them, because they were counting on your pain to cripple you. They didn't know it was fuel. They didn't know your trauma was a trigger mechanism, not a weakness. You didn't rebuild, you reloaded. And while they sat in circles dissecting your past, you were rewriting your future in ink that doesn't fade. They obsessed over the how. How did they survive that? How are they still rising? How did they know? But they never asked the one question that would have saved them. Why did I need to compare in the first place? Because here's the truth they can't swallow. Your rise was never about them, but their fall was entirely because of you. And that kills them, because in their fantasy, they were the main character, until you appeared and recoded the narrative. Suddenly, they were the footnote in your legend. Suddenly, they were the supporting role in your villain arc. It's poetic, really, how someone could destroy themselves trying to control a story they were never meant to survive. Let me tell you what makes you dangerous. It's not the way you walk, not the way you speak, not the results. No. It's the fact that you know exactly what they're trying to do, and you keep playing along like a ghost with a grudge, smiling, laughing, feeding them breadcrumbs into their own collapse. You've become the nightmare they can't exorcise. You're the glitch in their algorithm, the ghost in the surveillance tape, the thing that keeps getting stronger every time they try to shut you down. They wanted to study you like a specimen, but forgot that a storm doesn't pose for microscopes. It devours the lab. It rewrites the experiment. It names itself G-O-D, and you've become unreadable, untraceable. You're not in the system anymore. You're inside their instincts now. Every time they doubt themselves, every time they hesitate, every time they flinch when someone moves like you, that's you, still there, living rent-free in the scar tissue of their ego. But let's not pretend this was accidental. You knew what your silence would do. You knew that by not reacting, by not explaining, by not lowering yourself to their frequency, you'd force them into a cage made of their own paranoia. And now they're spiraling, overanalyzing timestamps, tracking every blink, every pause, every phrase, trying to reverse engineer your soul. But they don't have the source code, because you're not a program. You're the fatal error. They're paranoid now, talking to people you've never met about the signs, looking at strangers who resemble you and twitching, convincing themselves you've hidden messages in your posture, every move you make. They treat it like prophecy, but it's just Tuesday for you. You became the event they can't recover from, and every apology they'll never say, every question they'll never get answered, every comparison they'll never admit they made. It will all haunt them like whispers behind mirrors they can't smash. Because here's what really burned them alive. You never acknowledged the war. You let them declare it. You let them fire first. And then you evaporated their army without raising your voice. They came with bullets. You came with gravity. They had followers. You had force. They brought drama. You brought a shift in the atmosphere. And now, they're the ones explaining why they're so broken, so confused, so drained lately. They don't realize it wasn't what you did. It was what you refused to do. You refused to stoop, refused to bark back, refused to validate the ego trap. And in that refusal, you made yourself legendary. They can't sleep, because every time they close their eyes, they see you, not your face, but your unbothered stillness. That silence that screamed louder than their best insults. That look you gave them. The one that said, "I don't need to end you. You're doing it just fine on your own." They woke up thinking about you, and they'll die thinking about you. Because obsession isn't love. It's grief over a version of themselves they realized they could never become. And you were just the mirror, the proof, the walking, talking evidence that they could have, but didn't. And that's why they're unraveling. That's why their obsession turned into self-destruction. You didn't poison them. You just refused to drink from their cup. And they couldn't swallow that rejection. So they drowned in it. And now here they are, staring at ceilings, pacing in hallways, refreshing screens like there's a code hidden in your next post that'll save them from the collapse they triggered themselves. They never hated you. That was just the costume. The real feeling, it was addiction. You became their unsolvable problem, the itch under the skin, the whisper behind every win that it wasn't enough. You turned their ego into a surveillance system, monitoring every version of you they couldn't control. And when you didn't play along, didn't respond, didn't even blink in their direction, they shattered like glass, pretending to be diamond. You moved in silence, and they heard every footstep like a bomb. You were the test, and they failed before they even picked up the pen. They tried to outshine you with borrowed light. But the problem is, they didn't know your glow came from fire. You didn't get this shine from applause. You got it from surviving nights that tried to erase you. And when they stared too long, they didn't see a person. They saw a reflection of everything they should have been, every sacrifice they didn't make, every risk they were too scared to take, every version of themselves they aborted to stay safe. And you were the living embodiment of danger wrapped in grace. They weren't watching you. They were mourning their own cowardice. They thought copying your style would grant them power. But you don't earn power with mimicry. You bleed for it. You don't become unforgettable by echoing someone else. You do it by turning your scars into satellites and your pain into pulse waves. You were never a trend. You were a timeline reset. And they couldn't handle it. So they obsessed, whispered, studied, built entire strategies around your downfall. Wrote think pieces in private group chats with subjects like, "How do we stop them?" As if your existence was a disease. But it wasn't your presence that broke them. It was your absence. You stopped showing up. And the silence became unbearable. You didn't attack them. You just succeeded without them. And that is the wound they will never recover from. Because deep down, they wanted you to see them, to acknowledge their little war. But you didn't even give them the dignity of a glance. And that silence, it echoed louder than their loudest scream. They tried to perform your identity like theater, but the stage burned beneath them because you weren't acting. You are this. You became this through pain that would have killed them. And that's why they can't understand you. Because they've only ever practiced resilience. You lived it. You breathed through betrayal. You smiled with blood in your teeth. You taught your nervous system to sit still in chaos. You turned heartbreak into hardware upgrades. And every room you walk into now bends under your frequency. They've become analysts of your aura, interrogating your photos like FBI agents, chasing a ghost. But no data can decode a spirit that was forged in fire. There's no PDF that explains why you keep rising, no blueprint that makes sense of your non-linear, illogical cosmic evolution. They're watching you like a scientist trapped in a religion they don't believe in. And every move you make contradicts their entire framework. So they keep circling, obsessing, imploding, They wanted answers, but all they got was a mirror. And what they saw looking back wasn't you. It was the version of them that never got built. They're drowning in a war you forgot was even happening. Trying to rebuild their identity from the ashes of a battle they started out of jealousy and lost to your indifference. You didn't fight back because you didn't need to. You evolved, you transcended, you didn't play dead, you played unseen. They wanted a show, and you gave them silence. They wanted a response, and you gave them prophecy. They wanted closure, and you gave them nothing. Because nothing is louder than a person who no longer needs to explain themselves. So now their obsession eats them alive. And it will. Because here's the final twist. You were never obsessed with them. You outgrew the phase they were born into. You walked past the gates they were too afraid to open. You vanished into a version of yourself they'll never reach. And that right there, that's the poison. The fact that you moved on, that you're still moving, that every time they hope you've hit your ceiling, you evolve again. They thought you were climbing a ladder, but you were building a throne. And now, they sit at the bottom, eyes wide, realizing they were never your enemy. They were just the audience. So go ahead, keep moving, keep breathing, keep being so fucking unapologetic in your evolution that their entire self-image collapses under the weight of your existence. You don't owe them a reaction. You are the result. You don't need to remind them of who you are. Their obsession is already doing that for you. Every thought they can't escape, every sentence they retype, every strategy they whisper, every friend they try to rally, every room they enter with your name already hanging in the air like smoke. You're there, and they know it, even if they never speak it out loud. Their nervous system remembers you. Their fear remembers you. Their ego remembers you. You became the consequence, the ghost they summoned and couldn't control, the echo that learned how to scream back. You're not just living rent-free in their head anymore. You're expanding, rewiring, becoming folklore, and eventually, your name will be the last thing they whisper before they break. And the funniest part, you didn't even mean to do it. You really want to see what happens when their obsession mutates into desperation. Good, because now we're entering the phase where they don't just want to watch you anymore. They want to be you. And that's where the true horror begins. Because imitation is harmless when it's shallow. But when obsession festers long enough, it stops being flattery and starts becoming identity theft. They start dressing like you, talking like you, editing themselves like you, copying your cadence, your silence, your stillness, your stare. They try to rehearse your pain like it's a script they can audition for. But pain that's rehearsed, it doesn't carry power, it carries cracks. And those cracks start showing fast. You didn't just go through the fire, you bonded with it. They're trying to copy your flame, but they're holding it wrong, and now they're burning alive with no understanding of what they lit. You bled for every step you took. They Googled it, you cried in silence while building empires in the background. They whined in group chats and waited for applause. You died and came back with prophecy. They paused and expected to be crowned. See, what they don't understand is you're not a formula, you're a frequency. You're the aftermath of storms no one survived but you. You're the residue of divine rage compressed into a vessel too calm to be understood. You didn't grow, you resurrected, and you came back as something that doesn't make sense in any system that worships comfort. That's why they panic, because they've done everything right, everything the system told them, and they're still not you, still not worshipped, still not whispered about in secret, still not shaking timelines with their existence. And here you are, not even trying, haunting them. They tried to trace your footsteps and lost their minds because you didn't leave a path. You left glitch trails. You glitched through reality in a way no one else could. You didn't follow linear time. You collapsed it, bent it, broke it. And now they're sitting in confusion, stuck in a cycle of trying to explain something that was never built to be understood. You were forged in contradiction, angel and animal, prophet and problem, saint and storm. You are the kind of creature people don't describe. They warn about. And now they're trying to manufacture that same aura through mimicry. They want your chaos. But they don't want your crucifixion. They want your throne. But they won't survive your exile. And so they begin stealing fragments, your phrases, your energy, your tactics. They move like a glitchy clone, desperate to pull your magic into their mediocrity. But what they don't get, what they never get, is that it wasn't the moves that made you magnetic. It was the madness. It was the moments you almost didn't make it and kept going anyway. It was the conversations with your demons where you negotiated peace with things that wanted you dead. It was the fact that you don't blink in chaos anymore, that your stillness terrifies rooms, that your presence feels like a prophecy, not because of style, because of substance, because you've been broken so many times. Your rebuild isn't human anymore. It's coated with secrets and stitched with silence. You move like someone who's been to the bottom of existence and came back with the blueprint. They don't have that. They never will. So they try to cover the gap with performance, repeating mantras they didn't earn, posting shadows of your essence and hoping no one notices. The echo is hollow. But we notice. Oh, we notice. Because real ones feel the frequency before they read the words. And yours is atomic, ancient, unforgiving. It triggers ancestral fear in people who've never even met you. It reaches into timelines and reorders them. That's why they hate you. That's why they love you. That's why they need you to fall. Because if you're real, then their excuses aren't. And now they're spiraling, watching your every move like a courtroom sketch artist trying to record a god. Their thoughts no longer belong to them. Every win you post, a dagger. Every silence you maintain, a collapse. Every time you don't react, it reopens the wound they swore had closed. Because you are their unsolved equation, the math that mocks them. They can't beat you, they can't reach you, so they try to become you, and fail. Every time. Because they missed the point. You didn't want this power. You earned it. You didn't ask to become a legend. You became one by surviving things that make others vanish. You didn't chase the crown. You bled into the soil until something divine grew out of your agony. And now that it's bloomed, they want to harvest it. But you don't harvest a graveyard. You don't steal roots from a soul that's fused with the abyss. You can't download destiny. You can't imitate pain that was signed in blood by the universe itself. So let them panic. Let them dress like you, speak like you. Build poor man versions of your legacy in the echo chambers they call brands. Let them craft collages of your being from screenshots and assumptions. It won't matter. Because the real you, the core of you, can't be replicated. It wasn't built. It was resurrected through betrayal, through isolation, through the unthinkable. And that kind of genesis, it doesn't repeat. It erupts once, loud enough to reset the room, quiet enough to never be forgotten. And now they're stuck in the loop, worshipping your shadow, mourning their potential, trying to cast spells with your old blueprints. But you keep evolving, shape-shifting, glitching out of reach. and all they're left with is obsession that mutates into self-destruction, and you just keep watching.